Hey guys, so I decided that I would try to better organize my pedals, my wires, my mixer, my sound system, so that when I have students coming in and out and when I myself am using my space to move around, because I'm still trying to get things together in place, that I would better be able to disassemble or at least move my pedals out of the way without it being a big hassle. So I'll show you kind of what it looked like and what I'm currently going with and what I hope to fix coming up. So I don't find what I did to be particularly inspirational. I think it's just, I found it helpful for me to see kind of people's thought processes and how they organize their pedals and their equipment. And because everyone kind of has a different setup, I think it's just a good reminder to, you can have a pretty humble setup. I think I have a pretty humble setup. So I'll show you what I used and, and that's pretty much it. So what I used and what I hope to change and how I hope to kind of configure it as I get more used to my space. So hopefully you find this helpful and enjoy. So for this project, I used a 2x4. I used some heavy-duty Velcro, a label maker, some scissors. I also used a drill and some cable clamps. That was it. It was pretty simple. Here are some pictures of what I was working with before. This cable mess, my instruments, I wanted to open up this area a little bit more, and all my instruments were in the way. So the first thing I did was I made a list of what I was working with. So I had an inventory as well as I made a plan. What did I want out of this project? The biggest things for me were to make sure that I had it was easy to move, that the wires were somewhat manageable, and it allows the space to open up, and everything was well defined. So really what I meant by that was labeled. After I made a plan, I actually sat down, took everything apart, and then made a really full inventory where I actually measured all my cords, named them, and said what units they went to. I also removed the batteries from some of my pedals. If you leave the batteries in there, mostly I use wall power. We're using wall power. If you leave a battery in there, it's just going to drain it, so it's a waste. So I just managed all of that, organized it, put it together, and then I was better able to get a full inventory of everything I was working with. Here you can see I actually labeled all of my inventory with their name, their length. I measured them out, and what units they went to. And then I wrote it down in my journal, so once I took them all apart again, I would still have a reference. Next, I went to labeling so that everything was clearly defined. Pretty simple. My daughter enjoyed turning it on and off, and I work around my children, and I love that. I love that I can work around my children. So pretty simple, just use this label maker. By the way, I've had it for over 10 years. It has come extremely handy over the years. So I do recommend getting one. Just helps you stay organized in a very simple way. Next thing I did was I actually used this plastic. This is very temporary, by the way. I hope to upgrade one day, but this is what I had. So I had some painter's tape and plastic just to define some of the cables I was working with. Here you can see the labels, how it actually looks out when it's all put together. This is what I've ended up with for now. You can see I still have some things back here, an empty box fan and some instruments. I still have some exercise equipment, but I plan on keeping that there. But I have my music stand with my mic and my violin, and this is the pedal board. So it's my foot switch, my bass 9, which gives my violin, or my guitar, but mostly my violin, a nice low cello or bass sound, and then my looping pedal. And I put them all just on this 2x4. It's nothing special, it's just some Velcro And then I screwed in these stays, these cord stays for the switch between the looper and the foot switch, because it's a lot longer than I need, but I can't get much shorter, and I don't use this cord for anything else, so there's no reason to not have it kind of attached to the board. All the other cords are somewhat loose. This is small enough I didn't feel a need to pin it down. Maybe I will in the future. These cords that are running through, so the looper to the mixer and then the mixer to my base 9. I just have this temporary plastic for now. I hope to get some material, something that won't make a crinkly sound, but for now this is just what I had on hand. And the idea is that it keeps the cords together so I can move them and know that, hey, both of these go to the mixer. And as you can see, I have labeled them mixer to base, loop to mix, and then on the other side it will say mix to looper. So I know where it goes if I have to take it apart. And then for this one, this is the power supplies. So I have 2 different cord assemblies. One is for the mixer, one is for the power supply. That way I don't get them confused and they don't get all tangled up. Even though they are somewhat tangled up right now, they're actually not as bad as they were before, but still something to work on is the, I have a very long cord from the mic all the way to the PA, so I've got to figure out something to do with that. And then I've also added this keyboard. So this keyboard is on wheels. So the idea, and I have a nice long extension cord with an attached outlet. So the idea is that I can just push this back. All I'd have to do is unplug the keyboard from the mixer, push this back, and I have to get the cord out of the way, of course. And then I should be able to roll that in and out. It's also got my laptop there, so I should be able to roll that in and out fairly easy to open up the space, because this goes out to my backyard, so I don't like to have that blocked all the time, and then that goes to my laundry, so, which obviously is blocked for other reasons, but get to that another day. So then here's my mixer. This is the problem area that I haven't figured out yet. So first I had the mixer over here next to the couch where I have the stand, but the problem with that was that I had the cords running across the room, all the way across here. So even if all my equipment, because I tend to keep my equipment over here other than the guitar, so that they're more out of the way and we can easily walk through. But if I keep my equipment over here, then the cords run across there and it can become a tripping hazard. So I moved all my cords over here, but that required moving the mixer, and I don't really have a place for that right now. So I'm hoping in the future to get a stand for that, but for now it's just sitting on a box. And as you can see, again, all of these are labeled, so I know if I have to disassemble, I know where to put them back, because I'm still not used to this mixer. I'm not used to how it goes. And then I got my little PA system right here. I just have like a 3-way electric, and all my instruments go on this, but then the main stuff like the PA and the mixer go in here. So that is pretty much it for now. So obviously still some stuff to work on, but a lot better than it was, a lot better. And it's a lot easier to move around. So I can just pick this up and move it wherever I want without the cords getting too tangled. So maybe you find this interesting, maybe you don't. I'm sure I will be revisiting this, but I think for now I'm pretty happy with it. So